Forget New Year, New You. This season is about slowing down, locking the doors, and cozying up at home with the one you really want to do nothing with. Your dog. After the holiday chaos, those quiet nights with a blanket, a podcast, and your pup feel like the reset you actually need. Ollie helps make those moments easier with fresh protein-packed meals made from real human-grade ingredients, so your dog can enjoy some quality comfort food too. Choose from 5 recipes and get a personalized plan for your dog's needs. Meals arrive perfectly proportioned with a scoop and storage container, so serving is fast and mess-free. And with Ollie's in-app on-demand health screenings, supporting your dog is easy, ensuring more cuddles for many years to come. Visit ollie.com/truecrime and use code TRUECRIME for 60% off your first box.
Hey guys, it's Lainey, host of the True Crime Fan Club podcast. If you're a true crime addict like I am, then my podcast is for you. It's a podcast for the ultimate true crime enthusiast, giving you a glimpse into the life and crimes of the most demented minds. You won't want to miss an episode.
Hey everyone, this is Jillian, and you are listening to Court Junkie episode 35. Today's case is one you may have heard about. It takes place in California, and it was all over the news back in 2015, known as the alleged Gone Girl case. A 29-year-old woman goes missing, and the details surrounding her disappearance are bizarre, to say the least. There are many things in this case that may surprise you and have you thinking that you know what's going on until you don't. So, let's get started. It was 6 p.m. on Monday, March 23, 2015. 30-year-old Erin Quinn was sitting in the interrogation room at the Vallejo Police Department in Vallejo, California. The department is located just down the street from the shores of the San Pablo Bay, just 30 miles north of San Francisco. Erin was recounting to Detective Matt Mustard, the detective who was interviewing him, the nightmare he said that he and his girlfriend, 29-year-old Denise Huskins, had endured the night before. He said that he and Denise had been sound asleep at his home in Mare Island, a peninsula in the city of Vallejo, when they were awoken by a bright light shining in their eyes. It was an intruder, a man wearing all black, holding what looked like a handgun with a laser sight pointed right at them. Erin heard what sounded like a stun gun, and the man ordered them to lie face down on the bed. He put swimming goggles with black tape on the lenses over their eyes, bound their hands and feet, and then put headphones around their ears. A recorded message then played, saying that they were being attacked by a professional group who was there to collect financial debts. The message referred to Erin and another woman, not Denise, but his ex-fiancée, who had moved out of the home the year prior. They were told that they would be drugged with about a quarter of a bottle of diazepam and NyQuil, and that if they didn't comply with the attacker's instructions, they would get hurt, first by electric shock, and then by cutting their faces. Erin said he could feel a blood pressure cuff being taken on and off of his arm, and then the man made them take some sort of sedative and then separated them into different rooms. The intruder told Erin he knew a lot about him already, his name, where he grew up, and what bank he used, but he wanted Erin's checking account and credit card numbers, along with the passwords for his email accounts and his Wi-Fi. He threatened to harm Erin if he didn't tell him the truth. Then the man told him that he was going to kidnap Denise for a $15,000 ransom. He then placed Erin on the couch and told him not to move from that spot, that he had taped a surveillance camera to the ceiling that would be watching him. He said that he would communicate with Erin by calling him on his cell phone and through his email account. He told Erin that he would need to cancel his plans for the next 48 hours and wait until he heard from them. And if all went well, he could then go on with his life. He left scissors by the counter so that Erin could free himself later. Erin said he was warned that if he didn't follow the instructions, not only would Denise be harmed, but Erin's family would be in danger too if he went to the police. The man then took Erin's laptop and left with Denise, driving away in Aaron's car. There may have been more than one intruder, Aaron said. At one point, he thought he had heard the intruder talking to someone else. Aaron told the detective that after that, he was so sedated from the drugs that he was given that he fell asleep, and when he woke up hours later, he was terrified and didn't know what to do. He saw that he had received an email in his inbox from the kidnapper, sent from his own account. The email ordered him to take $8,500 from one of his bank accounts and $8,500 from another, and to wait for further instructions. If anyone asked what the money was for, he was to tell them that it was to purchase a ski boat. He was again warned to not call the police and that the kidnappers were watching him. Aaron said he was afraid to leave the house and afraid to call the police for fear that Denise would get hurt. But finally, at 1:53 p.m., after first calling his brother to get his opinion on everything, he called them. When officers got to his house, they noticed thin strips of red duct tape across the tile at the entrance of the adjoining rooms to the kitchen. When asked what that tape was there for, Aaron told them that the kidnappers had told him not to leave the boundaries of that red tape. He then showed them a surveillance camera that had been taped to the ceiling in the family room, where it looked like it had a functioning motion sensor. And there were zip ties and swimming goggles on the coffee table. When the officers went upstairs, they noticed a strong odor in the air, and it looked like the carpet had recently been vacuumed. In the master bedroom, there was no bedding on the master bed, aside from a fitted sheet, and the closet door was open. A massive search was deployed to try and find Denise. Officers went door to door and canvassed the neighborhood, while divers and sonar boats searched the water nearby. Hours later, the California Highway Patrol discovered Aaron's car parked in a parking lot. It was backed into a parking stall with the doors locked and the keys sitting on top of the left rear tire. There were strips of red duct tape on the top of the car, but still, no sign of Denise. And now, Aaron was in the interrogation room, recounting for the detective what had happened. He voluntarily submitted to blood and DNA tests and gave them the clothes that he had been wearing. In return, they gave him a white t-shirt and prison pants with Solano Prison emblazoned down the side. Aaron and Denise had been dating for about 7 months. They met at Kaiser Hospital in Vallejo, where they both worked as physical therapists. And Denise was about to land a prestigious orthopedic fellowship there when the kidnapping occurred. Detective Mustard made no secret about the fact that he believed that there was something fishy about Aaron's story. He told him that he didn't want to hear any more about any claimed intruders. He looked him in the eye and told him what his theory was: that Aaron had killed Denise and had then come up with the story about some fake intruder who had broken into his home. "Have you ever seen a body after it's been exposed to the elements?" Detective Mustard asked him. He warned Aaron that they would paint him as a cold, calculated monster and that he would be ruining his family's name if he didn't tell the truth about what happened. But Aaron didn't budge and continued to insist that he wasn't lying. Detective Mustard got up and angrily left the room. Aaron's family had arrived at the station, and he wanted to have a word with them also, to see if they could help talk some sense into Aaron. There was no clock in the room, and Aaron had no idea what time it was or how long he had been there. A sign that read, "This door is to remain closed at all times," was on the door, so any thoughts of getting up and opening it were far from his mind. He had been given a slice of pizza, a small bag of chips, and a bottle of water, but the questioning had been going on for hours. He curled up in his swivel chair and began to cry. He had no idea how long he would be there. Detective Mustard went to the police station lobby and approached Aaron's brother, who was waiting there with their parents. Aaron's brother worked for the FBI, and so he thought maybe he could help Aaron confess. Detective Mustard told him that there was no camera found in Aaron's home, and that Aaron was having a schizophrenic breakdown in the interrogation room. He said he only wanted to find Denise's body for the sake of her family, and that he could still charge Aaron with murder, even without her body. But Aaron's family was adamant that he would never harm Denise. Detective Mustard went back to the interrogation room and got even more aggressive with Aaron, demanding that he tell the truth. Aaron not only insisted that he was telling the truth, but said that the kidnapper could be calling his phone or emailing him about the ransom. His phone had been turned over to detectives prior to the interrogation. But Detective Mustard ignored Aaron's request for his phone, and the interrogation continued. At 9 p.m., 2 phone calls came through to Aaron's phone from an unknown phone number, but the detectives who were in possession of the phone had it in airplane mode, so the calls went unanswered. At about 3 a.m., detectives gave Aaron a polygraph test to determine whether or not he was lying. Afterwards, they told him that he had failed. 3 hours later, at about 6 o'clock in the morning, they finally allowed Aaron to speak to his brother, who helped him get an attorney. And then the interrogation, which had lasted 18 hours, was over. That next day, Tuesday afternoon, a reporter named Henry Lee at the San Francisco Chronicle received an email from one of Aaron's email accounts. The email referred to Denise as a different name, the name of Aaron's ex-fiancée, and said that she would be returned safely tomorrow. It then said, "We will send a link to her location after she has been dropped off. She will be in good health and safe while she waits. Any advance on us or our associates will create a dangerous situation for her. Wait until she is recovered and then proceed how you will. We will be ready." Attached to the email was an audio file with Denise's voice on it.
My name is Denise Huskins, and I'm kidnapped. Otherwise, fine.
Denise could be heard saying, "My name is Denise Huskins, and I'm kidnapped. Otherwise, I'm fine." She then goes on to say that she knows about the German airliner that had just crashed into the French Alps, and notes that her first concert she ever went to was Blink-182. Henry Lee turned the email and recording over to the Vallejo Police Department, who had Denise's mom and brother verify that it was in fact Denise on the tape. But even with the emergence of the ransom demand, officers were still thinking that something wasn't right with how the investigation was going. One of the officers implied that Denise could be making this whole incident up for attention, but her family insisted that she would never go to such lengths as to fake her own kidnapping. The next day, at about 10 a.m. on March 25, 2015, police in Huntington Beach, California, about 400 miles away from Vallejo, received a phone call from Denise's dad, who lived in the area along with Denise's mom. He told them that he had just received a phone call from Denise and that she was alive and was close by. Denise had told her father that she had been dropped off near her mom's home on Lake Street. Huntington Beach police officers responded to the area within minutes, and when they got there, sure enough, there she was. She had dark impressions under her eyes and was wearing shoes that were much too large for her feet. Shoes she said the kidnapper had given her. She spoke with the officers for about an hour, going over what she had been through the last 2 days. She said the same thing as Aaron had told the Vallejo police, that an intruder, or intruders, had broken into Aaron's home in the middle of the night, drugged them, and then kidnapped her. She said she was forced into the trunk of Aaron's car, and then eventually transferred to another car. Like Aaron, she too succumbed to the sedative that she had been given and had fallen asleep while inside. When she woke up, she said she was dragged into the bedroom of a quiet home and tied to the bed with zip ties and a bike lock. Her captor made her wear blacked-out swim goggles so she couldn't see, but she was able to describe him as a white male with reddish-brown hair. She said the man referred to 3 accomplices, although she never saw them. She told officers that she and the man had conversations while she was in captivity. He told her that they had actually made a mistake, that she was not the target, and that something had gone wrong. He said they were really looking for Aaron's ex-fiancé, that they often did these sort of tasks for clients where they target someone for money. He said it mostly had to do with the ex-fiancé's family. The kidnapper gave her water and food and continued to drug her and keep her sedated for the next 2 days, until he finally put her back into a car and drove her to her parents' neighborhood in Huntington Beach. When he dropped her off, she said he put tape over her eyes and told her to face away from the car. He said he was recording her so she wouldn't turn around as he drove away. Once she heard the car drive off, she removed the tape from her eyes and walked over to her mom's house, but no one was home. So she asked the gardener, who was working at the house next door, if she could use his phone to call her dad. When asked how she was treated, Denise said that she had been well cared for, given food and water, allowed to use the restroom frequently, was able to shower and brush her teeth. Denise told the officers that she was scared at what could happen if what she said became public. She was afraid because her kidnappers knew where her parents lived. When asked if she had been sexually assaulted, Denise told them no. She also said she didn't need any medical treatment. She showed the officers on a map the location of where exactly she had been dropped off, and so the officers went to that spot to see if they could find the tape that she had pulled from her eyes, but they didn't find anything. Officers also contacted the gardener, who Denise said let her use his phone. The gardener told police that Denise did ask to borrow his phone, saying that she needed to call someone to get picked up. He said he saw her make 2 calls from his phone and that she seemed normal. When officers asked if she seemed nervous, excited, or scared, he replied, "No, she seemed completely normal." Huntington Beach police contacted Vallejo police and arranged for Denise to take a jet back to Vallejo. Denise's cousin, who was an attorney, along with her aunt, arrived at the scene. Denise told them that she just wanted to be somewhere safe with her family, away from the chaos of the police and the media who had picked up the story and had swarmed the area since news of her recovery broke. Detective Mustard called the Huntington Beach Police Department and asked to speak with Denise. Her cousin took the call, and he told her that the Vallejo Police Department was offering a proffer of agreement for immunity for Denise. He said that Aaron had been at the station cooperating with them, and that whoever accepted his offer first would get immunity. Back at the Vallejo police station, Denise's mom, dad, brother, cousins, and aunts were there, waiting to hear news about Denise. Detective Mustard told them that they weren't buying Denise's story and that they may launch a criminal investigation against her. He said he didn't want to hear anything more about the alleged kidnappers, calling them, quote, frogmen. Denise decided she didn't want to meet with them and took a flight back by herself to the Bay Area. She arrived in San Francisco at about 9:30 p.m., right around the same time as Vallejo Police Lieutenant Kenny Park was giving a rather startling press conference, telling reporters that they had not been able to substantiate any of the claims that Aaron or Denise had made about the kidnapping. And Lieutenant Park took it even further.
We've had over 40 police detectives from the local, state, and federal levels, and over 100 support personnel assisting in the investigation, working round the clock to help locate Ms. Huskins. That is a tremendous amount of resources that, in my opinion, was wasted. I could sit here and apologize for all of us being regarded with our information, but I can tell you in the grand scheme of things, Mr. Quinn and Ms. Huskins has plundered valuable resources away from our community and has taken the focus away from the true victims of our community while instilling fear amongst our community members. So if anything, it is Mr. Quinn and Ms. Huskins that owes this community an apology.
Shortly after Denise landed, her newly acquired attorney told detectives that she would cooperate and said that Denise had requested to submit to a sexual assault exam as soon as possible. She was now saying that she had been sexually assaulted. According to Denise's attorney, one of the Vallejo officers told him to watch the movie Gone Girl in order for him to better understand their investigation. And for those of you unfamiliar with that book and now movie, Gone Girl is about a cheating husband who is accused of killing his wife. The plot twist is that his wife was really alive and had faked her disappearance and framed him as revenge for his infidelity. And somehow, that same Gone Girl reference leaked out to the media. On Nancy Grace's show, Nancy asked, "Is she a real-life Gone Girl who demands thousands in ransom after a dramatic kidnap?" Aaron's attorney spoke to reporters and defended his client, saying that it was not a hoax.
He has basically died and gone to hell. He is in terrible shape. He is exhausted mentally and physically. He refused to go home. He was sleeping on our couch in this office in order to assist the police in their investigation. He was not only bound up, he was drugged. And one of the things that he did voluntarily was give a blood test so that the police could confirm that the kidnappers drugged him.
Denise spoke with Vallejo police for the next 2 days after her release about what had happened while she was in captivity, including telling them that she had been sexually assaulted by her captor twice. The first time, she said her kidnapper told her that he was going to rape her and that he would be filming it, which would be used against her if she ever went to the police. He then raped her while she was still blindfolded. Then the next day, he told her that his boss demanded that he rape her a second time in order to get a better recording. She was raped again and recorded. Afterwards, her kidnapper told her that she would be released, but he told her that when she spoke with police or the media, she couldn't talk about the rape or the fact that her kidnapper was ex-military, and so that's why she said she didn't initially tell police about it. She told them that the man told her that they had broken into Aaron's home in the past, on 5 separate occasions, the last being just a day prior to the kidnapping, where he said he had made it to the top of the stairs to conduct the operation, but then aborted it. The Vallejo police told Denise that they still believed that she was lying to them, and warned her that lying to them was a crime. And so their interviews with her were over. In the days after Denise was released, the case would get even more bizarre. More on that after this quick word from our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by Virtue. I posted on my Instagram a couple weeks ago that I was now using Virtue Labs hair products, and I got a lot of great feedback from listeners. So here's the deal. Virtue Labs is a new hair care brand with the goal of giving everyone the best hair scientifically possible. Here's how it works. 6 years ago, a group of bioscientists working in restorative medicine discovered an incredible new protein called alpha-keratin 60Ku, which has the power to completely transform your hair. Alpha-keratin 60Ku is a whole human protein that's identical to the keratin in your own hair, so it can resurface and fill in cracks from damage to change your hair's quality and appearance forever. That means more bounce, more shine, more strength, and more life for your hair. And right now, you can only find it in Virtue Labs' line of shampoos, conditioners, and styling products. Not to mention, each formula was created to address specific issues like heat damage, frizz, or thinning hair. In fact, in clinical testing, Virtue found a 67% reduction in frizz after 4 washes and a 95% reparation of split ends after 5 applications. Ready to experience it? My wonderful Court Junkie listeners can now try Virtue at 10% off and get free shipping with the code COURT. Visit virtuelabs.com to place your order. That's virtuelabs.com, use promo code COURT. It's time to start treating our hair with a little more humanity. It's time for virtue. This episode is also sponsored by HelloFresh. HelloFresh is the meal kit delivery service that makes cooking more fun, so you can focus on the whole experience and not just the final plate. Each week, HelloFresh creates new delicious recipes with step-by-step instructions designed to take around 30 minutes for everyone from novices to seasoned home cooks short on time. HelloFresh sources the freshest ingredients, measured to the exact quantities needed so there's no food waste. And HelloFresh is now offering light fall meals and has just introduced breakfast options, all for less than $10 a meal. HelloFresh sent me a box last week, and it came in a nice little recyclable insulated box with all the meals divided up into little bags, so you know which ingredients go with which meal. And the meals I got were Mushu pork tacos, beef sizzle stir fry, and Crantastic turkey burgers. I made all 3 last week for myself and my fiance, and all 3 were delicious. But the turkey burgers. Now, I am not a turkey burger fan normally. I typically just like a good old-fashioned beef burger. But these turkey burgers with cranberry mayo sauce were really, really tasty. And if meat isn't your thing, they have vegetarian options too. My other favorite thing about HelloFresh was the complete nutrition labels they provide. They don't just tell you the calories, they break it down by cholesterol, sodium, carbs, etc., so you know what you're making. So if you want to try it out, you can get $30 off your first week of HelloFresh by visiting HelloFresh.com and entering the promo code CourtJunkie30. That's HelloFresh.com, promo code CourtJunkie30. And now, back to the episode. In the days after Denise was released, anonymous emails were again sent to Henry Lee of the San Francisco Chronicle from throwaway email addresses like huskinskidnapping@gmail.com and mareislandkidnappers@gmail.com. The emails were allegedly written by one of the kidnappers, who claimed that he represented a group of, quote, sort of Ocean's 11 gentlemen criminals. Referring to Ocean's 11, a movie featuring Brad Pitt and George Clooney as well-dressed criminals pulling off the most sophisticated and elaborate casino heist in history. In an email sent on March 25th, 2015, the kidnappers said they had been running a carjacking and burglary ring for months, but that they didn't want to stay thieves or criminals forever, so they were starting kidnapping for ransoms. He said the group was comprised of 3 members, 2 of whom were college-educated. He wrote that Denise's kidnapping had been just practice for them because they wanted to kidnap higher-profile individuals in the future. He also said that Denise had not been the intended target of this practice-run abduction, but when they discovered it was her, they decided to carry it out anyway, since it was a training mission. He wrote that they felt badly for what they had done and thought it was terrible that Denise was publicly doubted by law enforcement. The email closed by telling the Chronicle that they could print their statement, or perhaps even conduct an anonymous phone interview with one of them. And they requested that a message from them get to Denise. It read, "The only other thing that we ask in return is that you pass a message to Denise. We do not know how to reliably reach her. Tell her again that we are unspeakably sorry and ashamed for what happened, including the matter resulting in an argument with the team. Tell her that all threats against her and her family are lifted and that she is safe. Tell her we will come forward and try to do our best to correct the situation. To let us know that you have reached her, please ask her to tell you the email address she was told by one of us that she could reach us at. We will check this box approximately every hour. Thank you for your consideration." The email included image attachments of a fake gun they said was used in the attack. On March 28th, another email was sent to the Chronicle. In this one, the writer provided a full account of what had happened, which included saying that he and members of his team drilled holes in one of the windows of Aaron's home, and then used plastic squirt guns with strobe flashlights and laser pointers taped on them to make it look like they had real guns. He again expressed displeasure at how Denise was being treated by the police, and again expressed remorse for what they did. Ms. Huskins was definitely kidnapped, the email read. We did it. We will provide incontrovertible proof of that, and the Chronicle will break it. The email also addressed the odd ransom amount of $8,500, saying that amount was chosen because $10,000 is below the reporting threshold and would likely not be flagged by the United States government. The email closed by saying, there is good reason Aaron and Denise acted in what might be considered an unusual way. They were made through carefully calculated measures to believe their families were in serious danger. May God have mercy on us. We expect none from you. A number of images were also attached to this email of the fake guns, zip ties, computer equipment, and a photo of the room where they said Denise had been held. All images had been stripped of any identifying data. 2 days later, on March 30th, Lieutenant Kenny Park with the Vallejo Police Department also got an anonymous email threatening him unless he apologized to Denise. The email said, in part, it is inconceivable to us that the air has not been cleared concerning Denise's victimization. The Vallejo Police Department has 24 hours to issue a full and unequivocal apology, one that includes the words, we were wrong, or something very close to them. I frankly don't care how fishy you think it is, or that it's inconsistent with anything else you've seen. You have no good reason to continue allowing the community to believe that they are hoaxers. The kidnapper then talked about his ability to use computer programs to get private information about people, saying, and that reminds me, since the victims and their families have had the police and press and public up in their business for days, I think it is only appropriate, Mr. Park, if the public has as much information about you, in case they'd like to get in touch and let you know what they think about your victim blaming and your failure to do the right thing and issue a full apology when you had the chance. The kidnapper then ends the email with a threat. I have spent time doing the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. If you force it, I will do the wrong thing for the right reasons. No, not another kidnapping. You will see. I may be the direct agent of harm, but it will be made crystal clear that the Vallejo Police Department and you, Mr. Park, had every opportunity to stop it. But the day after Lieutenant Park received that email, he received another one, taking back the threat, saying, police do not deserve to be targeted, even ones who make poor calls about how to treat victims. We will not attempt any further damage or harm. The writer then wrote that the criminal group who kidnapped Denise was no longer together. For what it's worth, what could have ended up as a prolific and dangerous criminal group has disbanded, they wrote, and you have Denise to thank for that. Denise's attorney, Doug Rappaport, told reporters in the following days that Denise was cooperating with the investigation in the hopes of clearing her name because, he said, she is absolutely, unequivocally, 100% positively a victim. Denise and Aaron stayed out of the public eye for the next few months, and no one involved in the case received any more letters from the alleged kidnappers. But even though the Vallejo police made it obvious that they didn't believe Aaron and Denise, the FBI was on the case too, and they were seriously looking into the possibility of a kidnapper. That belief was reinforced when they were able to trace those phone calls that had been made to Aaron's phone while Denise was in captivity to a disposable phone that had been purchased at a Target store in Pleasant Hill on March 2nd. They retrieved the surveillance video from Target and saw a white man with dark hair and medium build. That phone was then activated on March 23rd, 2015, the date of the kidnapping. But the real break in the case would come just 3 months later, and it would turn the entire case on its head. In the early morning hours of June 5th, 2015, about 45 minutes south of Vallejo, an intruder pried the screen off a first-floor window of a residence in Dublin, California. Chung Yen, his wife Lynn, and their daughter Kelly were all sleeping inside the home. The intruder entered the master bedroom and woke the Yens up with a red laser beam and a flashlight. He was wearing all black clothing and had a black mask over his face. He ordered the couple to lie face down on the bed and told them that if they followed his instructions, their daughter would be safe. Lynn got up and made it to the bathroom, where she called 911. Chung started struggling with the man and was able to hit him over the head with the heavy flashlight. Chung pulled down the man's mask and saw that the man had white skin. The man then managed to get away, and he fled the residence. When police arrived, Chung and Lynn answered the door. Chung was bleeding from a wound on his forehead and had blood dripping down the front of his body. Both Chung and Lynn appeared to be in shock. Police discovered that the intruder had left behind a white cell phone outside of Kelly's bedroom and zip ties and a glove in the master bedroom. After getting a search warrant for the phone, they found that it was registered to a man named Matthew Muller. And Matthew Muller would turn out to be involved in more than just the home invasion at the Yen home. On paper, Matthew Muller was what the media might call an unsuspecting suspect. He was 38 years old, a former U.S. Marine, and was a Harvard Law School graduate. He had worked as a Harvard law professor from 2006 until 2009, and then at a law firm as a practicing immigration attorney in San Francisco. In fact, in 2012, the Journal of the American Bar Association named him one of the nation's techiest lawyers, noting that he had a mobile practice suitcase with a computer, printer, scanner, and projector that was all battery-powered, so he could conduct business, including give presentations, anywhere. But he had recently lost his license to practice in 2014 and was set to be disbarred, according to the State Bar of California. He had reportedly failed to file proper documents in a case, and afterwards, didn't return the money that had been paid by the client. And police would also come to find out that Matthew Muller was the suspect in another burglary, this one in Palo Alto, California, yet there had been no evidence to make an arrest in that case. The FBI executed a search warrant on Muller's home in South Lake Tahoe. A number of items were seized, including, much to the Vallejo Police Department's surprise, items that directly tied Muller to Denise's kidnapping. They seized items described by Denise and Aaron, as well as items that had been depicted in those email attachments. Here's a list of what they found. Taped over swimming goggles with blonde hair attached to them. A water pistol with a laser pointer taped to it. A laptop belonging to Aaron Quinn. Burglary tools. Electronic surveillance equipment. Zip ties. And a military-style mesh vest with blacked-out swimming goggles, a portable speaker, and duct tape in one of the pockets. When they searched Muller's vehicle, which was actually a stolen Ford Mustang, they found that the GPS contained the address in Huntington Beach where Denise had been dropped off. A second search weeks later turned up more digital evidence from Muller's computer, including a sound recording of people whispering to each other, and a recording of the instructions that Aaron said had been playing in his headphones. They also found digital recordings of Denise and Muller, with Denise blindfolded and fully under Muller's control. The FBI also conducted a search in Aaron's home, where the break-in had occurred. They analyzed a sample that had been taken from a stain on the floor where Aaron had been bound and gagged. The stain contained a mixture of drugs that caused drowsiness. Muller was arrested and charged with the home invasion in Dublin, and then later charged with Denise's kidnapping. On July 13, 2015, An FBI affidavit in support of an arrest warrant in Denise's case was released to the public. And in the affidavit, the FBI noted that the statements made by the Vallejo Police Department were careless and could have risked the suppression of any evidence seized pursuant to the search warrant. In other words, the FBI was saying that the Vallejo Police Department may have jeopardized the case by implying that the kidnapping was a hoax. Initially, the Vallejo Police Department was reluctant to say that they had been wrong. When asked by a reporter if the department still stood by their statement that it was a hoax that had wasted valuable resources, Captain John Whitney replied, "Yes, but we are continuing to investigate it." But just a few short weeks later, the city of Vallejo sent a letter to both Denise and Aaron that read, in part, "We apologize for and regret comments made by representatives of the Vallejo Police Department during the initial kidnapping investigation. It is now clear that there was a kidnapping on March 23, 2015, that it was not a hoax or orchestrated event, and that Vallejo Police Department's conclusions were incorrect. It is our hope and expectation that an indictment will be forthcoming against Matthew Mueller. At that time, the department will make our apology to you public." Denise and Aaron stood alongside their attorney while he spoke to reporters about the new developments.
Can you talk at all about how your clients are doing? They're standing here, and it seems that they won't be speaking today unless they want to. Are you able to speak? And if not, can you talk about how they're doing?
I can speak as to how they're doing. For a couple that has gone through an ordeal like this, they have exhibited tremendous strength, and in some sense, they've been through this together. It's been an unfortunate bonding experience in some sense, albeit one they would have never liked to have had. But they're very strong, thoughtful, loving, caring, compassionate people. Just people who should have never had to endure what they faced at the hands of Mr. Mueller or at the hands of the system. But we're hopeful that the system is now going to work.
Meanwhile, more information was coming out about Matthew Mueller. While being interviewed by police, Mueller told them that he had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2008 and that he had problems with psychosis. But his attorney told reporters that Mueller was innocent and would be pleading not guilty. While awaiting trial at the county jail, Mueller met with a reporter, which was recorded, as all jailhouse meetings typically are. In the interview, Mueller says that Denise's kidnapping had not been random, and that he wasn't surprised that he had been linked to it. He said he suffered from extreme paranoia and psychosis that, quote, "can blur the lines between reality and fantasy in my mind." He admitted that he had acted alone and said that there was no gang of college-educated criminals. He said he was aware that Denise's kidnapping had been called a hoax by the police, which is why he sent those emails to the Chronicle afterwards. On September 29, 2016, Mueller changed his plea and pleaded guilty. Denise spoke at the sentencing, and she spoke directly to Mueller. She started by saying, "Matthew Mueller, the voice has a face, it has a name. Now we finally meet, face to face, eye to eye. I am Denise Huskins, the woman behind the blindfold, the woman you drugged, tortured, raped, and attempted to manipulate. The woman you repeatedly apologized to, repeatedly complimented for the strength in dealing with this life-threatening situation that you helped inflict upon." Denise repeated what she said Mueller said to her while she was in his captivity, how he had staked out Aaron's home for months and saw old mail of his ex-fiancés and thought that Denise was her. She told him that every moment where he had showed remorse for what he was doing was nonsense, and an attempt to manipulate her into trusting him. She told him that she never trusted him and was convinced that he would kill her right up until he dropped her off. She talked about how she survived and how she refused to show him how terrified she was. She said, "If I were to die, if this was my last moment, hour, day on this earth, I would not live it screaming, panicking, crying in terror. I would go out proud and grateful for the life I lived, the family and friends I have, the grievances I have overcome, the amazing career that I loved, the patients and colleagues I had worked with, the loves I had experienced, especially in finding the love of my life, Aaron. I didn't know what was to come, but I did know that I had all those people there with me, their love and energy to give me strength to survive. I wouldn't let myself see the terror. All I focused on was them. That is how I survived. She then spoke about how it still affects her today. I still have nightmares every night. For over a year, if I came home alone, I would grab a knife and looking behind every door in every corner. I have a hammer by my bed that I reach for in the worst of my nightmares. Sleep is not rest for me. It is a trigger. She said there's not a moment in the day where she doesn't remember this. Aaron spoke to the court too, saying that he and Denise still live in fear and said that they are convinced that Mueller didn't act alone. In a letter submitted to the judge, Denise's mom recounted how the ordeal had affected her daughter, not only emotionally speaking, but even in terms of her career. She said Denise had applied for a fellowship specializing in orthopedic physical therapy when she was kidnapped, but that, quote, to her great disappointment, the fellowship offer was withdrawn after the kidnapping and the character attacks that followed for months afterward. Aaron's parents brought up the fact that no charges had been filed against Mueller in connection with what he had done to their son. They wrote, "These charges could be assault, battery, extortion, robbery, auto theft, false imprisonment, and probably more. When and how will Aaron get justice?" Mueller was sentenced to 40 years in prison for Denise's kidnapping. Aaron and Denise have since filed a federal lawsuit against the city of Vallejo, which includes the police department, as well as Detective Matt Mustard and Lieutenant Kenny Park. They say that the police department's investigation was misguided, and that instead of focusing on finding the true perpetrator and protecting the community from a violent predator, they attacked Denise, Aaron, and their families. They're seeking an unspecified monetary judgment. Denise and Aaron have both since moved out of Vallejo, and Denise recently posted to her Facebook that she and Aaron have since gotten engaged. But she also posted on Facebook that she's still dealing with the awful Gone Girl portrayal, as evidenced by a message she received in December 2016 that read, in part because there's so much profanity, "Are you that horrible lying woman that faked her own kidnapping? Oh wow, you are such a horrible person. You are going to hell for the bullshit you have done. I'd like to slap you a few times. I'd like to have my wife beat you up bad too. And just so you know, you're not as pretty as you think. I'd put you at being a 5 out of 10. You are an ignorant slut and a filthy liar, and I'm glad you're going to hell." Denise posted a screenshot of that message and wrote, "I don't post this for pity. I post this to increase awareness." Unfortunately, this is just one example of countless messages like this that I have received. And like the ones before this, unfortunately, this guy won. After reading this, I went into one of my many PTSD episodes of terror. My jaw and back are sore from the deep, powerful shaking and reflexive tension that my whole body goes into. My eyes are sore and red from uncontrollable tears. I am thoroughly exhausted. Every inch of my body is tired from the fit of terror it was battling. That was his goal, and I couldn't fight it. Congratulations, person I have never met, never heard of, who hates me so much that he went out of his way to message me this disgusting, demeaning, dehumanizing outrage. I am still disoriented and not sure if I am even making sense. I have to take medication to calm me down. It's almost been 2 years, a year and a half since it was made public that this was real, that Aaron and I were telling the truth the whole time. All I did was survive, and I was criminalized for it. We are trying to do the right thing and let the system do its job. But here we are, starting our new year, hoping for a more positive future, but confronted with hate and ignorance. Denise and Aaron have maintained that they still believe that more than one person was involved in their attack, but no other arrests have been made in the case. nor have any additional charges been filed yet against Matthew Mueller. And that's all for this episode. A special thank you to Virtue. As a reminder, Virtue Labs is a hair care brand with a vision to give everyone their best hair with the help of an incredible new protein called alpha-keratin 60KU. Alpha-keratin 60KU is a whole human protein that's identical to the keratin in your own hair. As a result, it can fill in cracks from damage to change your hair's quality and appearance forever. And you can try Alpha-keratin 60KU exclusively in Virtue Labs shampoos, conditioners, and styling products. Just visit virtuelabs.com and use the code COURT to try Virtue at 10% off and get free shipping. That's virtuelabs.com/court. I'm curious to know what you guys thought about today's case. Do you think Denise and Aaron were treated unfairly? Or was the case so bizarre that you doubted their credibility at first too? What are your thoughts on the civil suit they filed? You can let me know by joining our discussion group on Facebook by going to courtjunkie.com/Facebook. You can tweet me at courtjunkiepod, follow me on Instagram at courtjunkie, or you can email me at podcast@courtjunkie.com. If you'd like to support this podcast, or if you'd like to hear the episodes earlier than most everyone else and skip all those ads, you can go to courtjunkie.com/support, and that will redirect you to my Patreon page. Patreon allows you to donate as little as $1 a month, and in return, you get an exclusive podcast feed where you can hear early, ad-free episodes of Court Junkie. That's courtjunkie.com/support. And lastly, a few of you have been asking where you can get some Court Junkie merch. Ben from They Walk Among Us podcast was just sporting a Court Junkie t-shirt, and you can get one too, along with other items like mugs, pillows, hoodies, and more by going to courtjunkie.com/store. Thanks again for listening. Until next time.